Hello, welcome back. Today, I will be reading from the Wikipedia entry on Leia Skywalker Organa Solo. Now, this is distinct from Leia Organa Solo. Leia Skywalker Organa Solo is considered canon, while simply Leia Organa Solo is part of Star Wars Legends, and she has her own entry that mentions her sons, Jason, Anakin, etc. This is about Leia as she appears in the sequel trilogy. So, without further ado, let's get started. I would rather be a monster that believes in something, that would sacrifice everything to make the galaxy better, than be someone who sits on the sidelines and watches as if it has no consequences to them. Princess Leia Organa. Leia Skywalker Organa Solo was a Force-sensitive human female political and military leader who served in the Alliance to restore the Republic during the Imperial era and the New Republic and Resistance in the subsequent New Republic era. Adopted into the House of Organa, the Alderaanian royal family, she was Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan, a planet in the core world known for its dedication to pacifism. The princess was raised as the daughter of Senator Bail Prestor Organa and his wife, Queen Breya Organa, making her the heir to the Alderaanian monarchy. Instilled with the values of her adopted homeworld, Organa devoted her life to the restoration of democracy by opposing authoritarian regimes such as the Galactic Empire and the First Order. Born in 19 BBY as Leia Amidala Skywalker, she was the biological offspring of the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker and Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. Her birth occurred in the aftermath of the Clone Wars, which saw the Jedi Order purged and the Galactic Republic reorganized into the Galactic Empire. With her mother's death in childbirth and her father's fall to the dark side of the Force, Leia and her twin brother Luke Skywalker were separated to keep them hidden from the Sith Lords Darth Sidious and Darth Vader. As the adopted daughter of a politician, Leia Organa eventually succeeded Bail by representing their homeworld in the Imperial Senate, though secretly she supported the rebellion. During the Galactic Civil War, however, Alderaan was destroyed, along with its inhabitants and the royal family, by the Empire's DS-1 Death Star mobile battle station, causing Organa to openly fight the New Order as a leader of the Rebel Alliance. In the aftermath of the Battle of Endor, Organa married the Corellian smuggler Han Solo and learned the Jedi arts as her brother's apprentice, until giving birth to her son, Ben Solo, on the day of the Empire's capitulation in 5 ABY. Her personal and political life suffered in the years that followed, with Ben turning to the dark side like his grandfather before him, adopting the persona of Kylo Ren, and the Galactic Senate sidelining Organa's career. Adopting the military rank of general, she led the resistance during the Cold War and sought to make amends with Ben. Despite her efforts, the First Order succeeded in destroying the New Republic, and Organa's husband died at the hand of their estranged son in 34 ABY. Organa continued to lead the resistance during the war against the First Order, all the while training Rey, a Force-sensitive scavenger from Jakku, as a Jedi. As her health declined, Organa used her remaining strength to reach her son, calling him back to the light side of the Force. Following her death on Ajan Klas in 35 ABY, the Resistance defeated the forces of the reborn Darth Sidious's Sith Eternal on Exegol, and inspired an uprising against the First Order across the galaxy. The heir to 3 inheritances, Leia Skywalker Organa Solo's legacy passed on to the Jedi Rey Skywalker, the military leader Poe Dameron of the Resistance, and Ben Solo, her only son, who ultimately returned to the light and sacrificed himself for Rey. Towards the end of the Clone Wars, a galactic conflict fought between the Galactic Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems that was engineered by the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. Jedi Master Yoda set out on a journey to discover the secrets of immortality. His journey took him to Moraband, the ancient Sith homeworld, where he faced visions of the future. At the end of his journey, the Force Priestess Serenity, who had guided him, told him that there was another Skywalker, and Yoda heard his voice from the future say so as well. These events not only alluded to the potential he would sense in Leia, but to what Yoda would tell her twin brother, Luke, about Leia in his last words before his death. Leia Amidala Skywalker was born on the asteroid of Polis Massa 2 days after the end of the Clone Wars and the newly established Galactic Empire's purge of the Jedi Order. She and her twin brother, Luke, who was born shortly before her, were the children of Republic Senator Padme Amidala, who died after labor, and Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, who had recently fallen to the dark side of the Force. She was left with a lasting impression of images and feelings of her mother that her brother did not have, that their mother was very beautiful, kind, but sad. Of the 2 Skywalker children, Yoda felt that Leia was more suited to be a Jedi, owing to her natural strength, will, and clarity, as opposed to her brother, who was impetuous, headstrong, unruly, and inattentive, wanting very much to train her. However, to protect the children from the Empire, Darth Sidious, who ruled the Empire's Galactic Emperor Palpatine and the now Sith Lord Darth Vader, Senator Bail Prestor Organa agreed to adopt the infant Leia, together with his wife Queen Breha of Alderaan, while Obi-Wan Kenobi personally watched over Luke, who would live with their father's stepbrother, Owen Lars, and his wife Beru on the planet Tatooine. Through adoption, Leia Amidala Skywalker became Leia Organa, formally becoming heiress of the royal family of Alderaan through the name day ceremony. Although it was common knowledge that she was adopted, and everyone assumed that she was just another of the many, many children left orphaned by the Clone Wars, she remained unaware of her biological parents' fates. When Leia was an infant, she was mesmerized by the fish in an aquarium while her adoptive father read her secret files concerning the former Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano's presence on the agrarian moon of Rada. Bail later carried her after reading the files. During her childhood, Leia was taught by her father to appreciate the effort of Alderaan's workers, but also the importance of her duties as the planet's eventual queen. She would often stand alongside her parents, waiting through Alderaan's endless royal ceremonies, knowing that she could let no emotion show on her face. She considered her adoption by the Organas to be a privilege accompanied by duty and sacrifice. Ruling Alderaan would require giving up her dreams, or rather, giving up her freedom, her dignity, and even her private self in the service of a larger whole. But she worked hard to fulfill her parents' dreams for her, and to be worthy of someday ruling the planet. Leia was also reared by a number of aunts who gave her etiquette lessons to turn her into a proper patrician and lectured her about maintaining her appearance and the company she kept. Although Leia genuinely loved them, she refused to let them mold her into a simpering princess whose only aim in life was to find a suitable husband. She once complained to one of her aunts that being a princess had to be about more than silently doing one's duty. But her aunt replied with a sad smile that she had just described most of a princess's job. At one point, Leia escaped from the care of her nanny droid and ran through the gardens of the royal palace before finding her adoptive mother reading in front of a statue of Leia's biological mother, Padme Amidala. Staring up at the statue, Breha began to explain Amidala's long history, mesmerizing Leia. Breha began by explaining her start as an apprentice legislator in the royal house of Naboo, and the beginning of her long and arduous political career from a very young age. She went on to explain the hardships she had faced while serving the government of Naboo, including her election as queen and the invasion of Naboo in 32 BBY. Calmly passing through her time as queen, Breha continued on by explaining that Amidala may have been a capable fighter on the battlefield, but the most important battles she ever fought were in the Senate, using her words as her weapon as opposed to her blaster, and that she would continue to fight in the Senate until lasting peace was brought to the galaxy. Finally, Breha explained that Amidala had been a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy, and that even though she had passed on, her symbol, her spark, remained. Ending her speech, Breha finally came to the point of what she had wished to say to Leia, explaining that the spark of hope that Amidala had left upon the galaxy continued to live inside Leia, a spark that would one day reignite hope within the galaxy. In 10 BBY, the 9-year-old princess ran away from the royal palace for the first time She hid in the woods for a week until her parents' guards finally tracked her down. She would later remember that incident as the best week of her life. Once warned to stay away from Wilhuff Tarkin by her father, the Grand Moff made an official visit to Alderaan when she was 13. Leia crept along the halls of the palace behind the two men, listening to their cold, tense conversation. During the occasion, she realized Tarkin was nothing more than a merciless murderer and slaver. In Leia's teenage years, she learned to shoot with a Jerian Defense Conglomerate Defender sporting blaster, one often used by aristocrats of social standing. When she turned 16, Leia was allowed to receive some martial training with a personal instructor. Her family had deemed it necessary for her to learn the basics of self-defense, given her royal status and risk of abduction. She thoroughly enjoyed that training, which not only made her feel physically strong, but also allowed her to be released from the tension of her etiquette lessons. Thanks to her instructor, Leia learned to keep her mind clear and focused on the moment. She was also taught how to ride, even becoming an Alderaanian junior champion in steeplechase. On one occasion, Leia was sparring against one of her family's servants outside the city instead of being in language study when her father picked her up. During their trip, she expressed her lack of enthusiasm for the politics her mother had to deal with. When the Viceroy explained to her what Alderaan meant and what she would have to do one day as its queen to carry on the legacy of Alderaan's harmonic culture with pride. One moment. I'm reading from my phone, and the app I was looking at closed. So I ended that sentence somewhere other than the end, and now I have to scroll back to where I just was. And as I do that, I want to say that as this is a wiki to which anyone can contribute, there are some grammar and stylistic mistakes. I'm reading it as it is, but if I were to rewrite the entire article, it would be a little different. So, I'm now trying to scroll, but Chrome is crashing. So, I'm going to stop, and if you enjoyed my reading from this article on Princess Leia, I can pick it up where I left off next time. Just leave me a comment to that effect, and I will be happy to oblige. Until next time, thank you for listening. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you.